It's Ryan Fowler with InnerMasculine.com. I put together a presentation for you today. Hope you enjoy it. And it is called Mindset of the High Value Alpha. We're going to have actual video clips and analyzing high value alphas, talk about conscious, subconscious, self-talk, all sorts of stuff. So let's get started. So first thing, Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. You will call it fate. One of the founders of analytical psychology, Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists, he understood this. What's really interesting, though, is I know professional psychologists, I know doctorates, I know psychology professors, and I ask them, what are the rules of the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind? How does that work directly? A lot of them don't know. A lot of them don't have a lot of training on that. They're all about behavior analysis, conscious mindset, all that, but subconscious, they don't go too deep into it. At least the professors and PhD students and psychologists I've known, they tend to focus on cognitive behavioral therapy and all the branches of that, which is unfortunate because you really need to focus on it all. And Carl Jung understood the unconscious, your subconscious, as I put it, it'll direct your life unless you make it conscious and furthermore change it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, because we're not only going to talk about mindset of the high value alpha, but more important, it's not much benefit if I say, hey, here's the mindset, and you can't incorporate any of it. So the point of this today is to actually show you how to adopt the mindset of the high value alpha. What do they do? And give you some tools to adopt it. And there's some things, I'm not going to be able to show you everything today on actually how to do it, but I'll show you some things you can use in this presentation today. It'll show you how to adopt the high value alpha mindset. To get the rest, you can all, of course, do a session with me, or I'll soon be coming out with InnerMasculine.com subconscious optimization system. This is 5 hours of video training. It teaches you how to use self-hypnosis to actually get high value alpha core beliefs in you. There's 10 self-hypnosis audios, there's video training, there's my dive to the 5 process, which has a worksheet and training on that. It gets you to identify, it gets you to make your unconscious conscious and connect to and identify bad subconscious programs that hold you back so you can clear them. And then put in this high value alpha mindset, unconditional self-love, massive self-belief, motivation to get what you want. We'll teach you to learn to read the matrix of your subconscious, understand it, just like Carl Jung said, take fate into your own hands. Because so many people go through life and say they'll read all these self-help books and then they never change. Well, why not? Well, because their subconscious doesn't change. So we're actually going to dive deep and show you how to change and make changes where other programs fail. Take the approach of actually changing your subconscious. Learn about it. 95% of behavior is based on subconscious programs. We're going to go over today what subconscious programs are, how they control your life, what motivates you, what demotivates you, and how high value alphas, what their subconscious is like and how they motivate themselves. So in addition, with this subconscious optimization system that's coming out soon, doing sessions now, but it's coming out soon, you get access to our private online men's chat group. I do sessions for men and women, but I am more focused on men, of course. Men and women are different. Sorry, feminists. So you get access to that men's group, up level your subconscious mind and life. If there's enough demand, I might do a women's group too at some point, but I'm focusing more on men for now. So it's going to cover how to resolve anxieties that keep you from getting what you want. We're going to go over that today. What is anxiety? What's it all about? How do you overcome it? We'll go over that today. How do you replace procrastination and perfectionism with the path of greatness? There's a video clip I'm going to do later today called a lady by age 28, 29, where her husband became worth 100 million, started from zero. She talks about productive failure. I call it the path of greatness. We'll go over that later today. Positive self-talk, self-forgiveness, mindset optimization training. That's all in the subconscious optimization system. that will be out soon. And this is actually a complement to the SOS. It's all my SOS students, I want to watch this video and look at it, because there are some things because of copywriting that I can put in a free fair use format that I cannot put in a paid product. So that's why I'm including that here. It's free for everyone, but there's some things I can't put in the SOS where I'm actually analyzing video clips. So we're going to do that today, but look out for this when it comes out so that you can make your subconscious conscious, and furthermore reprogram your subconscious and have mindset and all that too. So moving on, let's start out with what a subconscious program is. And this is what I talked to a PhD psychology student, a psychology professor, and they didn't know these rules. It kind of stunned me. When I took hypnotherapy training, professional hypnotherapy training is a high quality program. It was the IACT's program. You can look them up. They talked somewhat about the subconscious, but they didn't teach this stuff. It's kind of like they taught half of what you need to know. I wish they would have been more comprehensive, but here's what a subconscious program is. I haven't seen this anywhere else. It's two sides to one coin. First side is a belief or interpretation. It's a narrative. When we're babies and children, we're forming all these beliefs and interpretations. We're observing the world around us, and we're saying, hey, this thing happened. What does it mean? Hey, that thing happened. And, what does it mean? My dad yelled at me. My mom treats me like I'm a bird, and these other kids laughed at me. Or it could be good things too. I get a hug every day. What does that mean? Well, it means I'm wanted and loved. So when we're babies and children, we're forming all these beliefs and interpretations. These things happen. We say, what does it mean? Because we're trying to figure out what we need to do, what we need to learn to survive in this world. We're trying to figure everything out. So all these subconscious programs develop as childhood, and there are a bunch of beliefs or interpretations connected to feelings. That's the second side of the coin. If you have a belief as a kid, I can't do anything right, that's going to be tied to a feeling. That feeling is triggered as adults. Anything in the outside world happens that's a match for the belief or feeling, belief or interpretation in us. It triggers a feeling attached to it. This right here is what a subconscious program is. Now, I'm not talking about intuition or instinct, but I'm talking about learned subconscious programs we have as children. It's really just these two things. Now, some of our subconscious beliefs are so big, we may feel them at a low level all the time. They can still get triggered. So I'm actually going to show you an example shortly of a very good subconscious belief that Arnold Schwarzenegger had, and him triggering it and what that did for him. So these programs could have good feelings or bad feelings attached to them. Example, if your belief is, or this is an interpretation. Interpretation is when A happens, it means B. So when I fail, it means I'm a failure. If you have that interpretation in you, every time you fail, you feel terrible. That's a feeling attached to the belief. And for people who procrastinate, or maybe you're a guy, you see an attractive girl and you have anxiety, well, you're going to have an inner belief, oh, if she rejects me, that means I'm unattractive or I'm a loser. For example, that's not how it is for all guys, but some. And then you approach her and she rejects you, you feel like crap. That's a subconscious program right there. You got the narrative, and when the situation happens that is a match for your belief inside, it gets triggered, you feel that feeling. But you can have good feelings attached to good beliefs, good subconscious programs too. If the narrative is, I'm fundamentally good and I have a very high value, I'm awesome, I'm a champion, I'm an alpha male, I'm the cat, I'm a stud. Well, if you have that in you, good feeling, good beliefs tied to good feelings, as adults, anytime something happens in the outside world that confirms, yes, indeed, you are awesome, it's going to trigger that feeling. Now, some people are raised with, we'll talk about toxic shame shortly. Some people don't have these good programs, and they have very few. And so people will compliment them and they say, oh, I feel like I can't take credit for that. I stand in front of the mirror and I say I'm an amazing person, and it rings hollow because deep down I don't believe that way. So if you don't have good programs in you, someone compliments you, you don't feel good. You feel, oh, they don't know the real me, for example. But if you have a good belief in you, oh yeah, I'm an amazing person. Anytime something happens to confirm, yes, indeed, you are amazing, it's going to spike that program. And this is why, champions, the alpha male mindset, athletes, businessmen, whatever, they're pursuing victory, they're pursuing success, because anytime they make progress, they have a good feeling. They get spiked from their internal belief system. Yeah, see, you are the successful guy you deep down you felt you were. You just confirmed it. You just had this success, that success. Like I said, there's people who don't have these beliefs in them and they achieve success and they're like, oh, I thought I'd be happy, but it didn't make me happy, or maybe just very shortly, very temporary, and that's it. So a big part of the alpha male mindset, or the alpha mindset, the high value alpha mindset, is get good subconscious programs in you. And what happens is when you have these good subconscious programs in you, and then you're seeing this evidence in the outside world that, hey, I did this good, I did that good, I did that good. I feel good about all these things because you have good beliefs getting triggered in you. You want to do it more and more. This is called, pursuing pleasure. We'll talk about our brain avoiding pain and our brain pursuing pleasure later, shortly. But I have a video clip that's a very good example of this. I'm going to switch over here. And we're going to show you someone who has good subconscious programs. And because he has good subconscious programs, anytime he does something to confirm that, he feels really good. So here we have Arnold Schwarzenegger. And watch what happens. And then we're going to analyze this after we watch this 1-minute clip.
The greatest feeling you can get in a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in a gym, is the pump. Let's say you train your biceps. Blood is rushing into your muscles, and that's what we call the pump. Your muscles get a really tight feeling, like your skin is going to explode any minute. It's really tight. It's like somebody blowing air into your muscle. It just blows up, and it feels different. It feels fantastic. It's as satisfying to me as coming is, as having sex with a woman and coming. So can you believe how much I am in heaven? I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, when I pose out in front of 5,000 people. I get the same feeling. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? So, I'm in heaven.
Okay, so that's Arnold being weird. But, a lot of people look at that and they say, oh, what a weirdo. It is kind of weird, but he's actually illustrating a very good point here. Deep down, he believes he's awesome. That's a subconscious program. He has that belief tied to a feeling. Anytime he does something to confirm you're awesome, when he works out, gets the pump, poses in front of people, wins a competition, it feels amazing. So that is his subconscious belief being triggered. And what happens is, if you have good beliefs in you that feel good, good subconscious programs that feel good, you actually pursue pleasure in order to trigger those programs as much as possible. Whereas people that don't have that good belief in them, they don't pursue pleasure because the good stuff isn't in them to trigger. This is literally how our subconscious mind works. And this is a key to what motivates us to do things positively and to avoid things or to do things that are destructive. So let's go to the next step. There's actually another clip we're going to show of Arnold shortly that even reaffirms this more. So before we really dive into the high value alpha male mindset, we got to show what holds people back, keeps people from adopting this mindset. And, the whole reason we're looking at the mindset is, if you have this mindset in you, you're going to be driven to be successful, be happy, get what you want, generally speaking. So here's the opposite of high value alpha mindset: toxic shame. Now, what is toxic shame? Toxic shame holds us back more than anything else. It's the cause of so many behavioral issues, psychological issues with people. It's a feeling you're not good enough in some form. It can apply in different ways to different people. But at the end of the day, it's I'm not good enough in some form. Some people feel like, especially if it's a strict religious upbringing, they can feel sinful, evil, bad. Other people feel inadequate. Other people feel incapable, loser, worthless, unworthy, undeserving. All those are forms of I'm not good enough. You can feel like that in general, or it can be tied to specific things. Oh, anytime I fail, it means I'm a failure. And some failures don't bug you and other failures do. Some specific failures, bug you. Now, we have a very interesting video clip coming up here that I'm also going to show. Another Arnold clip, and you're going to see his belief set juxtaposed or side by side with the belief set of a guy with toxic shame. The difference between them, internal and external difference, is striking. It really is. So here we go. We're going to pick this apart and analyze it as well.
The left.
Oops. Okay. So we got another clip here. And we'll watch this, and I'll pause it here and there to kind of analyze what's going on.
Yes, you too can have a body like mine, if you're not careful.
Puts himself down. Beta male toxic shame.
Pathetic, isn't it?
Pathetic. Puts himself
But
down
here to show
again.
us what the human body can look like is rather a remarkable...
And there's Arnold. So already you see toxic shame in this guy. I'm pathetic. If you're not careful, you end up like me.
Man, we've just been watching...
Now, this is really interesting because you're going to see how Arnold talks and how he talks. You're going to see Arnold's mindset, his mindset. Difference is striking. Here we
him
go.
in action. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold is probably the most successful bodybuilder of all time. He's won the Mr. Universe competition 5 times and the Mr. Olympia competition, which is the American version, a staggering 6 times. Arnold, let me start by asking you this. Can anybody build muscles like this? I mean, could I, or is it something you're born with?
No, I think anybody could build muscles like that, but it's not to the interest of anybody. I mean, a lot of people go into weight training and just want to do it for fitness or for health and for other reasons like that.
His mindset's anyone can do this. Not everyone wants to. We talk in the SOS program about going after what you want. Not everyone needs to be buff like him, but having the belief is good. He believes you can.
Only 5% of the people...
This guy on the right does not believe he can get buff. This guy on the right does not believe anyone can get buff, especially him. But just watch.
who are training with weights are doing it for the reasons I did it for, which is, to go into competition, to try to win Mr. America or Mr. Universe or Mr. Olympia. And it was just a goal that I had when I was 15.
Why did you start to do it? I mean, were you bullied when you were little, or have sand kicked in your face?
No, we don't.
So this guy on the right, talking about pain. Were you avoiding pain? You were bullied, sand kicked in your face. So in order to avoid pain, you wanted to get strong. There's 3 types of mindsets, and one is you don't do anything because you're avoiding pain. Another is you become successful, then to be good enough, it doesn't work. That's like Kurt Cobain, Marilyn Monroe, Robin Williams. They achieve all the success. They're still miserable because their subconscious is bad. Arnold has the best mindset. You'll see.
I don't have that much sand now still. But I tell you, I just got into it because it really felt great doing weight.
It really felt great pursuing pleasure. We're going to talk about pursuing pleasure shortly. Alpha mindset right here, not avoiding pain. I wanted to get strong enough to beat up the bullies so they wouldn't hurt me. This is the high value alpha mindset here.
Weight training. I did it for soccer, and like a lot of soccer players do weight training to strengthen their legs. And I think I fell in love with the weight training, or with the feeling of being strong and being big and all that. And I wanted to win Mr.
He loves the pleasure, has a dream, has a goal.
Universe, and it was a dream that I had when I was 15 years old. And it's a dream that a lot of kids have, and that's what the film Pumping Iron is about a dream that kids have, and they make it come true in a film. You can see that, and that's what I did.
Well, although it's a dream that would never come true in my case, suppose...
Yep, doesn't believe, and that's why he's weak. It's all mindset. Arnold said anyone can do this if they want to. He's like, no, I can't. There's a big reason why Arnold's buff and he's not. You're seeing it right here.
I wanted to put a bit of muscle.
I'm going to show you other examples. You'll be convinced by the end.
And we've got a set of weights here in the studio.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could show us some basic exercises that would just start you off on the right track.
Yes, first of all, I have to compliment you for your physical development because you really look very athletic and good. So don't put.
Did you see that? What's his mindset? Mindset. You're going to see this later. We're going to talk about Mike Tyson, Custody Amato, his coach that made Mike Tyson a world champion. You got to get the mindset before you get the success. Arnold's trying to give him the mindset right here. He sees this guy putting himself, we're going to talk about this later. You know, forgive yourself, don't put yourself down, compliment yourself. Arnold is modeling that. This is an alpha mindset, high value man mindset right here.
Put yourself down.
Don't put yourself down.
Okay, the first exercise I'm going to show you is what we call the bench.
Okay, so that's it for now. So recap, Arnold believes in this guy more than this guy believes in this guy. Arnold compliments, you know, the skinny guy. The skinny guy keeps putting himself down. I'm not good enough, toxic shame, toxic shame, toxic shame. That's why he's skinny. Comparison of beta alpha right there. Or this guy's like gamma, but anyways. Those are just placeholder terms, by the way, guys. You know, just like, you know, for those Roll Tomasi fans, etc. Alpha and beta, it's just placeholder. It's just to distinguish a high value mindset from a mindset that's going to hold you back, like the mindset this guy has. Okay, so back to our slide on toxic shame. So I'm not good enough. It was just illustrated right there. And this stuff forms in childhood. Toxic shame forms in childhood. You know, it's basically how kids interpret the world around them. And yeah, if you have parents that are criticizing you, treating you like a burden, you can't do anything right, not giving you compliments, not giving you love and appreciation, ignoring you, treating you like you're unwanted. You get bullied at school. You have teachers that look down on you or just whatever. Maybe your parents can't be around because they're just working so hard. And as a child, you say, you don't understand, my parents have to work so I can just have food on the table. And maybe you're thinking, well, they're not around, they must not want me. Well, as children, we form all these interpretations and beliefs. They have feelings attached to them. The skinny guy, beta, had this internalized this belief as a child, I'm not good enough, and it's there as an adult. By age 8, 75% of our subconscious programs are formed. These beliefs are interpretations tied to feelings. By age 14, 95% are formed. When we're younger, our subconscious is like soft clay. When all these beliefs are forming, we're impressionable. As adults, the clay is hardened, and these subconscious beliefs and feelings, interpretations, they're just rigid, static programs set in stone the rest of our life, unless something, you know, rare occurrence, there's some big event that just causes a big shift, but that's rare. The rest of the time, it's going to be hypnosis or some other method to change your subconscious, concerted effort, specialized, you know, specifically to change that. And if you don't change it, then like Carl Jung said, you know, if you don't, it's actually more than making the unconscious conscious. Until you make the unconscious conscious and change it, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So I would add that to his quote. You know, we've learned a few things since he died in 1961. We've learned a few things in the last 60 years. So I'll put that in to make his quote more accurate. Otherwise, it's very, very good quote. So what happens as a child, you get this toxic shame. I'm not good enough in some form. How's it manifest? Poor confidence with women in life, insecurity. You know, women do shit tests. You know, red pillars know this. Women have this, you know, an instinct to test men and say, are these men the real deal? Because men want to, you know, how our the psychology of men and women are is to a large degree evolutionary survival based. And men wanted to present themselves as the best mates to get the best women, and women wanted to say, hey, how can I make sure that this guy is the real deal? So women actually do shit tests. They will actually test the guy, maybe poke at him, maybe do something to push his buttons to see, okay, is he really confident, or is he putting up a front, putting up a show? I don't know. A really common one is, oh yeah, we're not having sex tonight. A woman will say that. She'll see how the guy will respond, or something else, some other quote takeaway. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Or they'll pick at something wrong with the guy, some little petty weakness, see how he reacts. And for guys who have deep down insecurity, this bad belief that I'm not good enough, that shit test actually triggers the feeling tied to that insecurity. It's a subconscious program. Women when they do these tests to see if a guy's the real deal or not, they're actually seeing if there's deep down insecurity, subconscious program that can be triggered. And if it's not, they're like, oh wow, he's the real deal, he's confident, and they're attracting those up. So there's other you can Google shit tests. There's other videos that talk about it, but it's pretty well established. So I don't know what the technical term is. That's just a term everyone uses. Okay, so another thing with toxic chain, poor boundaries. You let others walk all over you. You feel you're not worth much. Oh yeah, I don't have very high status, so I'm going to let people walk all over me. You tolerate treatment you feel you deserve. Especially if you rely on others for validation. If you don't feel good about yourself and you need others to make you feel good, that's actually codependency. I depend on you for approval and validation to feel good enough. You're going to be susceptible to others taking advantage of you, walking all over you, manipulating you, and they're holding out the carrot of validation and then just having a field day with you. Validation seeking, needing validation from others. This is the opposite of the 0 F's given alpha male mindset. The 0 F's given alpha male says, hey, I know I'm freaking awesome. I don't need your validation. It's good. It's nice if I get it, but if I don't, I'm cool. I'm just doing my thing. You don't like it, whatever. I don't care. Very, very, very alpha. It's the opposite of validation seeking. So we're talking about the opposite of the alpha male mindset right now. This, you saw the skinny guy, his mindset. You saw Arnold's. They are complete polar opposites, their mindset. Arnold's trying to help the guy, but this poor guy. So if you have toxic shame, you're terrified of rejection because you have an internal belief. If this person, now again, different people have different forms of toxic shame. Some people are afraid of some types of failure, but not others. Some people are afraid of some types of rejection, not others. Some people have a little toxic shame. Some people have just a ton. Some are just, they just have insecurities in 1 or 2 spots. And then some, it's just, they feel massively bad about themselves. So keep that in mind. But if you have a feeling, a belief inside, if someone rejects me, it means I'm a loser. It means I'm a reject, well, you'll be terrified of rejection because it's so painful. The feeling that gets spiked when you're rejected, if you have that belief in you, is so painful that, affirms your suspicion you're really a loser, and that feels terrible. So you're terrified of triggering that painful feeling. We pursue pleasure, we avoid pain. I'm going to go into that later. It keeps us small. Toxic chain keeps us small, unproductive, unhappy. There's actually 3 types of motivated people. There's people who stay small, unproductive, unhappy, and they're trying to avoid triggering the toxic shame in them. So they're trying to avoid doing anything where they could fail, get rejected. They're playing it safe in order to avoid the toxic shame, and they live small and unproductive, generally small, unproductive, mediocre, unhappy lives as a result. It is on a scale, it's on a spectrum. Some have this a little, some have it massively. But there is a second type of motivated person, and that is they're trying to become as successful and as rich and famous as possible because they say, hey, when I'm super successful, rich and famous, then then I'll be good enough, you know. So they're actually they're pursuing success to not feel pain, because they feel pain now. But that's where you get the Kurt Cobain, you know, the lead singer of Nirvana, wrote a song, I hate myself, I want to die, and then, you know, killed himself with a shotgun. You know, Robin Williams, you know, very successful, you just really a nice human being too. But he had depression, you know. Marilyn Monroe, very sad life, although she had everything. And then the third type of person who's motivated is pursuing pleasure. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to show some other high value alphas who pursue pleasure because of good programs in them, because they don't have toxic shame in them. They have the opposite. We're going to examine what these opposite internal belief systems are as we go through this. But first, we got to talk about this, because this is what holds people back. This is what prevents people from adopting these high value mindsets. It keeps people from getting ahead in life. I got this out of me, and within 2 years, my income doubled. Now my income's even substantial, you know, doubled again, basically. So you got to get this out of you. It holds you back so much. We'll go into the specifics of why shortly. So more effects of toxic shame: codependency, needing love from, you know, for men, needing love from women that they never got from mom, insecurity, neediness. Loneliness is you rely on certain other people for validation. Now they're not around you. They're not there to validate you. You feel lonely because you don't know how to validate yourself. You don't know how to feel good by yourself. So you're lonely, you miss them, you feel disconnected. Well, if you have a connection with yourself, where you know how to give yourself love, approval, validation, you'll get lonely. I've seen that in my own life. I cured this, and my loneliness just, even though I had, you know, I was kind of a semi-hermit for 2 or 3 years because I just wasn't lonely. I just didn't need that. I was kind of exploring feeling good just by myself on my own. So you can have trap rage, resentment, anger, bitterness, because toxic shame is very painful. It's keeping you small. It's holding you back. You're not getting what you want. And many people perceive it's because they were treated like crap as a kid. Bullies, parents, teachers, whatever. And so they see that unfairness, injustice, betrayal, abuse, and they're not getting ahead in life, and they're not happy because of the bad behavior of others. And so they have that anger, bitterness, resentment, rage. Depression, you just feel intrinsically bad, wrong, not enough. It feels bad. And for some people, these subconscious programs are so big that they just have chronic depression. They just feel not good enough all the time. Some people lack a purpose in life because they're like, well, I can't get what I want, so what the heck should I do? You know, life is meaningless, you know. And people may not even understand. They just may be in a fog. They may be lost and confused, but this is what's going on. You know, oh, I'm not allowed to have what I want. You know, what I want is bad or sinful, or I'm not worthy of what you know, I can't get the good things I really want. So why even try? So now they're shut down, apathetic. You know, we're speaking generalities here. There's lots of nuance from person to person, of course. You know, you can't have what you want, don't have permission, whatever. You're not connected to others. Maybe what you feel inside of you doesn't match the outside of others. You're not good enough for others. You don't belong. You're not accepted. You can't connect. You're too different from them. These are all tied to toxic shame. Toxic shame messes people up. It's actually the underpinning. John Bradshaw, in his book, Healing the Shame That Binds You, talks about how this is the core of addiction. He was a recovered alcoholic who became a psychotherapist back in the 80s and 90s. Very influential guy, great guy. His books were awesome. John Bradshaw and the Family, amazing book. John Bradshaw, Healing the Shame That Binds You, amazing book. Toxic shame at the core of addiction. And it is. And I've seen that. I've seen people, we resolve their toxic shame. One guy is cocaine addict. I follow up 2 weeks later. He's like, it's so weird. I haven't even done cocaine in 2 weeks. Haven't even felt the urge to. And it's like, yeah, well, you were covering up this painful emotion with that pleasure. So moving on. I've been hinting at this so far, but this is huge. And this is what you need to understand. This is a huge fundamental concept that underpins so much of human behavior. Our brain leads us to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. This is survival based. In ancient times, you got a cut on your hand, maybe you got infected, maybe you died. You see you eat a berry, it's poisonous, it's painful. Okay, don't do that again, because if you eat more, maybe you'll die. Avoid pain. We'll go over this. Pursuing, the comfortable and avoiding the uncomfortable. That is different from pursuing pleasure, avoiding pain. It's a weaker program, but just for the sake of completeness, let's talk about this too. So, humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. So you want to understand that in ancient times, you're at a lake, you've been there before, the lake's safe. Well, you go to a new lake, all of a sudden you're uncomfortable. Why? Well, you don't know. Maybe there's an alligator in this new lake, and you go to this new unfamiliar lake, it comes out and eats you. Boom. Here's a new berry. I'm not used to this berry. Well, maybe it's poisonous. Whereas, this berry, I've seen this berry before. I know this berry. Well, it's comfortable. You eat it, it's safe. This watering hole. Okay, I know this watering hole's safe. This, new territory. Maybe there's a tribe there you haven't seen yet. They're going to go to war with your tribe. So this is all survival based motivations. Our brain wants us to do familiar, comfortable stuff and avoid unfamiliar. But if there's something new and unfamiliar and you choose to do it because you're going to get benefit, you keep doing it. It becomes comfortable before too long. You just got to do it more and more. But these, the pursue pleasure, avoid pain program in us is stronger, notably stronger, and much, much, much more persistent than pursuing familiar, avoiding unfamiliar. And so pursuing pleasure, that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger is doing. And we've been hinting at this throughout. Arnold's like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be so great to become this champion, and it's my dream, and I want to become an amazing bodybuilder. And he had good subconscious programs in him. You can see him just exuding them in these clips. He's like, he looks at the skinny guy, look, compliment yourself, man. Don't put yourself down. And that's what is inside of, that's a belief system as Arnold. It's positive, celebrate, live the dream, pursue pleasure. I'm awesome. Hey, skinny guy, you're awesome too, man. Don't put yourself down, compliment yourself. Okay, so when you have these good beliefs, good programs in you, you're pursuing pleasure. And even people who have massive toxic shame, they still pursue pleasure, but they're going to take, shall we say, they're going to take the safe routes of getting pleasure, which is, now what I'm about to say, I'm not saying like video games are bad or comfort food is bad, because hey, that stuff's pleasure, and in the right doses, hey, it's great. But a lot of people who have pain in them, toxic shame, like I said, this is addiction. You got shame in you, it's very painful, and your brain says, hey, I need to avoid pain. I have this pain in me. So how do I keep this pain as low as possible? Well, a couple ways, there's different ways. You can just disconnect from your emotions. People dissociate. Resort to addiction, cover the pain with pleasure. And the addictive cycle, by the way, is you pursue pleasure to cover your pain, but then the pleasure itself causes you more shame. Oh, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drunk, now I'm even more of a loser because I went on another bender. And that now you have more shame and more pain. And your brain's like, I need to get away from this pain. Let's go back to the pleasure. Now you're in this vicious cycle. That's addiction. Boom. So start looking at life through the lens of being motivated to pursue pleasure and avoiding pain. When I say pleasure, I mean in the broadest sense. We get pleasure from being altruistic, connecting with others, teaching others, helping others. You get fulfillment from that. doing meaningful stuff, it feels good. That's pleasure. Snorting cocaine is also pleasure. Not saying you should do that. I'm just saying it's pleasurable. You know, Hedonistic activities as well as very wholesome activities. If it brings pleasure, it brings pleasure. So I'm using pleasure in a very broad sense. And pain also, yeah, there's physical pain, and yeah, we avoid anything where we're like, oh, I'm gonna get hurt, so you avoid it. I'm not gonna do that. But people who are doing risky behaviors is because they get that high. They're adrenaline junkies, right? So you see these skydivers and wingsuit, using just all risky behaviors. They love the high. They're pursuing that pleasure. And other people look at it and say, no, that's gonna, so it does depend on your mindset and the programs in you. The programs in you are going to interpret, how you approach life. But pursuing pleasure, avoiding pain, it's one of the oldest components of our evolutionary psychology. It's integral to survival itself. Pursuing pleasure, avoiding pain is just like hindbrain, lizard brain, ancient stuff. And we're going to talk next about anxiety, but anxiety, dread, resistance, fear, that's all our brain seeing a threat and trying to get us to avoid potential pain. Desires and wants is pursuing pleasure, but it's pursuing the pleasure we want that's tied to our identity. The daredevils, they want to chase that pleasure. So they're willing to risk the pain, or they think the pain will even happen to them. Okay, so moving on. Anxiety, your brain's attempt to avoid pain. Now, why are we talking about all this avoiding stuff? Well, because this is core to the alpha high value mindset. The alpha high value mindset, they either don't have these issues or they have them a little bit, but they're very comfortable and they accept that, hey, this is how it is. I'm going to have some anxiety here. I'm going to do it anyways. But really, they have way less anxiety because they have way less toxic shame. And anxiety, to a great degree, is tied to toxic shame. Now, not all anxiety is bad. Some anxiety is not tied to toxic shame at all. It's tied to, hey, you better not do this. So if you're on the side of a mountain path that's 2 feet wide and it's 1,000-foot drop down the side, you better be fearful and anxious. It's either going to say, hey, don't even go on this path. Now you won't die. Or if you're on the path, you be very careful because of that anxiety, fear, etc. But toxic shame, the problem with toxic shame is it triggers a lot of anxiety in a way that holds us back, doesn't serve us, keeps us small, keeps us from getting ahead, keeps us from being high value alpha. So what is anxiety? What is anxiety? What's it doing? Well, it's a general feeling of fear in the face of potential failure, pain, or stress. So anytime our brain sees that we are in a situation that could lead to pain, including emotional pain, we get anxiety. Fight or flight. This is flight. Fight is, I'm angry. I want to punch that guy in the face. Flight is, I want to get the heck out of here. I want to avoid this potential pain because there's a threat here. Pain is a threat. Pain could lead to death. That's how our brain thinks, survival-based programs. So if it's not physical danger, present, and in today's world, most anxiety is about emotional, although it could be physical, but it's usually tied to toxic shame. Not always, but usually. It's your subconscious mind getting you to avoid, even if it's only potential for pain, meaning the pain may happen if I do this or may not. Well, your brain's still going to give you anxiety, and the pain that's being triggered is toxic shame in the instance we're talking about. Again, we're not talking about physical danger. So if it's not physical danger, it's probably toxic shame. That's pain, because toxic shame is the most painful emotion we have. Feeling you're worthless or you're bad or evil, not good enough, whatever. However it applies to a particular person, it's so painful. That's why people become addicts and they ruin their lives trying to avoid toxic shame, or they shut down, or, couch potato, avoiding toxic shame. Procrastination is avoiding toxic shame. Think about, okay, what are the things you procrastinate? Oh, it's the things that if you mess it up, it's going to hurt. Or maybe you feel bad. Here's an interesting thing about our brain. The pain can be tied to, I'm going to be a loser if I don't do it. That will cause anxiety too. This ancient hindbrain sees is it sees a threat that could trigger pain, and it gives us anxiety, even if the pain comes from not doing the thing we're supposed to do, and then we feel pain from that. Brain doesn't differentiate. It just says, here's the thing I'm supposed to do, but if I don't do it, I feel like a loser. I'm not good enough. I'm lazy, whatever. Brain just sees potential for pain, gives you toxic shame, boom. Or gives you, gives you anxiety, boom. Or, hey, if here's a thing I fail, I'm going to feel terrible. Brain gives you anxiety. It just sees the potential. This, procrastination, think about what you procrastinate. Well, it's stuff where there's, maybe it is just very unpleasant work and there's a lot of discomfort. So you get anxiety from that. But most people who come to me, they're going to feel terrible if they mess it up or if they don't do it. So you procrastinate. You'll pursue pleasure. I'm going to play a video game and not think about it. But then it's like, oh, I have to get this done. I have this test coming up. I'm afraid of failing it. Now I have to pull an all-nighter and cram because I procrastinated. Get it? Whereas if you're like, hey, I like to study and I know I'm getting good grades. And even if I flunk it, fail an off test, it's no big deal. I know I'm good all in all. And that's the type of person that, especially if, you're tying your self-worth to getting good grades, and you're like, man, when I get a good grade, it feels so good. Pursuing pleasure, now you're, studious and you're not cramming. But people who are afraid of, oh, I'm going to flunk this and I'm a loser, then they procrastinate. They put it off. They are avoiding pain. So yeah, you can have anxiety when something's out of your comfort zone. We already covered that. That is generally a smaller anxiety that goes away the more you do it. We're speaking in generalities, of course. So a very, very, very important thing you guys want to understand is if you reduce the toxic shame in you or get rid of it, which is our goal, we want to get rid of it. We want to actually get it out of you so you don't believe anymore that you're not good enough. If you get that feeling out of you and you replace it with good feelings, now you're adopting the high value alpha mindset. Now I have, interviews I'm putting on YouTube, and I've had a lot of success in this area, helping people with overcoming anxiety, overcoming toxic shame, believing in themselves. I have so many people where it's like, oh my goodness, 6 months later, my income's 50% up. 2 years later, I'm just doing amazing. I went from, one guy went from Salesforce of 200. He was second from the bottom, one session, 5 months later, number 7. Lived with his parents, now living on his own. I mean, I see it time and time again. Yeah, that's an above average example for sure, but it's not rare at all. So get the toxic shame out of you and your anxiety goes down because you're not worried about triggering that painful emotion in you if you fail. Remember, that's what a subconscious program is. If you got a feeling in you or a belief, if I fail, it means I'm a failure. That's a type of toxic shame. There's a painful feeling tied to that. Then if you fail, that pain is spiked. Your brain is avoiding pain. So it says, don't do the thing that could lead to that pain being spiked. Even if it's not guaranteed it'll be spiked, it could. I'm giving you anxiety. So you get rid of this toxic shame, this painful emotion in you, and there's not going to be things that will trigger it or spike that terrible feeling because it's not there anymore. That's what I do. I get this out of you and I put good beliefs in you. You're confident, you're awesome, you're amazing. Just like Arnold, I'm going to show you more examples. I'm going to show you examples of people with these amazing mindsets, and they're all extremely successful, and it is not a coincidence. Okay, so get the toxic shame out, put good stuff in, and that is the number one thing you can do to get you pursuing pleasure, pursuing success, kicking ass. Do this at a subconscious level, which is what I show people to do. I was showing at the beginning that subconscious optimization system, the SOS program, is coming out shortly. It's all geared towards this. I'm going to give you some tools in this video that you can use as well. So, you know, we'll do the most we can here, but I want this to permeate, you know, everything we're doing is keep in the back of your mind. Our brain wants us to pursue pleasure, avoid pain. And it is absolutely key to being successful, happy, kicking ass, as opposed to staying small. So, you know, we talk here, you know, affirmation, self-care, meditation, positive self-talk, that all helps. You gotta fix your subconscious. But then the self-talk, all of that you also want to do. It all helps, it all works together. But man, you got it. Subconscious number one. Get that bad stuff out, put the good in. Okay, so more about procrastination versus the path of greatness. Path of greatness is a high value alpha mindset. Path of safety is beta. It's procrastinating. It's staying small. Why are you staying small? To stay safe. Well, what's the threat? Well, for most people, the threat is if I take risks and fail, then I feel like a loser. I feel terrible. Or if I don't do the work, now I'm lazy because I didn't do the work, you know. So, oh, well, I'm not going to do a job that's challenging. You know, I'm going to do a safe job that I know I can do. Then I won't feel lazy. And then you stay small. It's all about pursuing pleasure, avoiding pain. Toxic shame leads us to avoid taking these risks. Now, on the other hand, if we get in your subconscious a belief, I love myself unconditionally. I am worthy of love no matter what. Even if I do the biggest screw up, I'm still at some level worthy of love. I have massive value just for who I am. Just like a diamond. A diamond doesn't need to do or say anything to have value. It has it. It just has it inherently. So if you have this belief in you, I have value no matter what, then you take a risk, you fail, and it's like, well, that sucked, I failed, but you know what? I still have massive value and I'm still worthy of love. This takes the pain out of making mistakes. We get this at a core subconscious level. I'm going to show you mega successful people who do it this way. That's coming. I'm showing you video clips. More high value people. Remove the pain, and then you're not procrastinating to avoid pain. You remove the bad feeling that people who have toxic shame that get spiked. You get that out. And then when you fail, it's like, oh, I failed, but no big deal. The core is, I have value just for who I am. If I fail, it doesn't mean I'm a failure. And that's reality. Because the reality is those who succeed the most first fail the most because they try the most. I'm going to show you video clips. I'm going to show you example of mega successful people saying this. Yeah, those who don't fail are those who don't try. They don't take risks. They play it safe. Those who are the most successful take risks, and guess what? They fail a lot. But each time they fail, they learn and they get better and better and better and better. And then they have the mega success. That's the high value alpha mindset, the path of greatness. You'll see it. I'm going to demonstrate it. So we have two video clips here. These people are both 9-figure net worth individuals, and they're going to demonstrate this. So let's go back to YouTube here. Okay.
Bench press.
All right. And instead of this, we're going to do this. All right. So this gentleman here is Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu, last time I checked, is worth more than $400 million. I think close to $500 million now. I don't know for sure. It's way, 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 way up there. He's going to echo, and I'm going to show another super high net worth person echo what I just said. They're not afraid of failure. There's no pain there, or there's a lot less. And here we go.
You and I think, share a similar sense of like, okay, entrepreneurship was very good to me. It changed my life. It made me fantastically wealthy. And now I'm looking around going, hey, there's nothing that special about me. The thing that made me successful is I'm a relentless learner. So I'm just unafraid to embarrass myself, to fall down, to look stupid. And because of that, while other people are laughing at me, I'm laughing on the inside because I'm like, motherfucker, on a long enough timeline, I'm going to win because I'll learn and I'll figure this stuff out.
Okay, this guy worth over $400 million. Now, he started out as a couch potato. He tells this story of his wife went to work and his only job, he laid on the couch, watched TV. His only job was to have a sandwich ready for her by the time she came home. And then he's like, oh, crap. She comes home in 10 minutes. I haven't even made the sandwich yet. Well, he had a massive internal shift. And this is the result. He's like, listen, I'm learning. I'm focused on the learning. I'm focused on the benefit. I'm focused on the pleasure. I'm focused on, I understand because I'm willing to fail and look stupid and fall down that I'm learning in the long run. I'm going to beat all these other people laughing at me. So he's okay with failure. He's laughing. He doesn't have toxic shame in him. If he did, it would feel so terrible. You know, I know it's by degrees. Some have a little, some have a lot, but it'd feel painful enough that he'd want to avoid trying and risking. And you look at his mindset. He's like, I'm laughing. Failure. I did a session for a guy whose net worth was close to 9 figures, if not 9 figures, really high. And I got to pick his brain. I said, how do you feel about fail? If you fail, how does it make you feel? He said, I feel encouraged when I fail because I know that there are a number of failures that must occur before I succeed at anything challenging. I mean, all the great success is challenging. That's why not everyone does it. That's why only few people do it and have the great success, because it's challenging. So he says, I know there's failure involved. There's a certain number of failures and then there's success. So each failure is a milestone for me that I'm closer to success. I am encouraged by failure. And he really felt that way deep down, just like Tom Bilyeu. Thomas Edison had to try 1,000 times to invent the light bulb. His famous quote is, I have not failed. I've learned one more thing that doesn't work. I've learned. They're looking at the benefit. They're looking at the long-term pleasure of getting fantastically wealthy. Arnold Schwarzenegger having his dream. Oh, it's going to be so amazing. And then he made it come true. Thomas Edison, oh man, I'm going to change the world. This is going to be amazing. Failure's not bad. Failing doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean I'm not good enough. It means I'm learning. It means I'm growing. It means I'm acquiring skills. There's no toxic shame here. And that's why they're successful, because they're willing to follow this path. There is no perfect path where, you know, for you perfectionists who are listening, who things have to be perfect, that is a pipe dream. The most mega successful people make mistakes all the time because they are constantly learning new things and they are trying hard, challenging stuff, which involves failing. But the more we do anything, the better we get. We are practicing, and the better we get until our skills get to a certain level where we have the massive success. Because Thomas Edison is the one who invented the light bulb, because he's willing to try 1,000 times and other people weren't. And you think about Thomas Edison after 999 failures. Think about that guy, and then 10 minutes later tries one more time, invents the light bulb, changes the world forever. But Thomas Edison, after nothing but failure, 999 failures, was he less of a genius than the guy who tried one more time and succeeded? No, his same genius. Was he less of a hard worker? Was he really any different from the guy who tried one more time and then changed the world? So failure does not affect your value. That is reality. These people fail the most, but they also succeed the most. Failure, they are trying the most. That is the high value alpha mindset. So I'm going to show you another clip to drive this point home. So this lady with her husband went from net worth of close to zero, it was down, to in 5 years by age 29 worth 100 million. 0 to 100 million in 5 years by age 29. So she's going to talk about her process. Now, first, I'm going to show you here. She talks about productive procrastination. She says, you play it safe. So you don't take risks. You never try. You never risk. Yeah, you know, productive procrastination means you do the productive stuff that's safe, that you can't fail at, because you don't want to hurt. You don't want to feel like a loser when you take risks and fail. So she talks about this: never try, never risk, never fail. You're playing it safe. Therefore, you never let down. Everything's fine, but you never succeed. You stay small. Okay. That this is the path we're talking about: productive procrastination. The path of procrastination. Now, she calls the path of greatness something else, but I call it the path of greatness. But she's pretty much nailed it. I mean, these principles, no one has invented these principles we're talking about. You know, Mother Nature invented them, the universe invented them, whatever. You know, we're just discovering truths and then pointing it out to you. So she discovered a truth that I've also discovered. Here we go.
The micro, right? But in the macro picture, I was never succeeding. So it's like you're successful in keeping yourself safe, and you're also successful in keeping yourself miserable, right? And so that is when I realized that I really need to trade my productive procrastination for what I want to call productive failure. So what does that look like, right? What's productive failure look like, and how do you know if you're doing it or not doing it? Okay, productive failure means you're going to try. So it's like you see something that needs to get done in the business, you see something that you would like to do, you see something that you aspire to, you try. Because you try, you do risk failure, right? And then I would say about 50% of the time, you are going to fail, right? The other 50% of the time, you just learn, right? And the thing is that you learn when you fail and you learn when you succeed. And
Okay, Tom Bilyeu. If I fail, I'm learning. She said, same thing. If I succeed, I learn. If I fail, I learn. Path of how can failure be productive? Well, it's because you're learning. This is the path of greatness. You take risks. You do challenging stuff that you could fail at. That's why the champions do it. Champions do the tough stuff. You know, the kids play it safe. You risk failure. There is no. Some people actually think that these mega success. Remember, this woman worth 100 million with her husband. Took her 5 years. They make like 25, 30 million a year net profit. I mean, it's crazy, you know. And she's talking how she fails half the time. So there is no path here. Some people think that these people always get it right and they're just like superhumans. No. They're trying challenging stuff. They're constantly learning new things, which means they're failing a lot. But when they fail, they learn, they tweak, they try again, they risk failure, round and round and round until they have the success. And then they move on to something else and they keep trying, risking, failing, trying, risking, failing. They get it, success, boom, success number 2. Then they move on. And that's how they rack up all their success, is they follow this path. This is, you know, first base, second, third base, home run, you know.
And so what that means is that once you try and you fail, you tweak and you try again. And so this is what I would consider most people aren't doing if they're feeling like they're really burnt out. They're feeling like the wheels are spinning, but you're not getting anywhere. Is you're probably avoiding trying the things that are most likely to threaten your ego because you're most likely to fail at them. So
if I fail, it means I'm a failure. If you have that toxic shame, it hurts your ego. That's why people play it safe. High value people are like, I'm okay with it. I'm laughing on the inside. It's no big deal. I'm going to take this path because I want the success, because it's awesome, because I love to learn and grow.
anytime you're starting something new, anytime you as a CEO and entrepreneur need to level up, you have to try doing something that you've never done before. And you're probably going to look like an idiot. I look like an idiot when I try most things I've never done. It's like, would it be reasonable that I would look like an expert when I've never done something before just because I'm a CEO or an entrepreneur? No, like you're just as new as somebody who's not a CEO or entrepreneur trying something, right? It doesn't mean anything. And so this is what I realized that I was doing. And because of this, I wanted to quit everything. And so
talking about productive procrastination made her want to quit because she was stagnating.
What I've realized is that if you feel desperate for a change and you feel like you don't have time, what I realized for myself was that it wasn't time that was the issue. It wasn't I need more project management tools. It wasn't that I needed to delegate more. It wasn't any of that, right? It was that I needed to shift from productively procrastinating to productively failing.
And that's what took her in 5 years to where she is now. That's the mindset, at least. Of course, there's lots of stuff she did. These are the underpinnings to learning and growing until you achieve greatness. Okay, so moving on. And of course, the trick here is how do we get this in us? How do we get this core belief in us? How do we remove the toxic shame? How do I get rid of the sting of failing? A lot of you are like, well, yeah, this is all great, but it still hurts like crazy when I fail. So I don't want to fail. So that's why I procrastinate. We got to change what you believe and feel deep down in order to have this shift. Now, one thing that's key, this is less important than actually reprogramming your subconscious beliefs, but still important. In fact, I have done, hypnotism for people, got good beliefs in them, but they didn't change their self-talk. These are extreme examples. I had a guy, did a session, big shift in him, really amazing, very profound shift. He wrote me a month and a half later, and he said, Ryan, for a few days after our session, I feel better than I had felt in many years. And then I started feeling worse and worse and worse and worse. And now a month and a half later, I feel just as bad as before our session. And I had picked his brain before the session, so I knew what was going on with him. And I said, okay, in the last month and a half, how often have you criticized yourself? How often have you been beating yourself up, putting yourself down? He says, all day, every day. I'm putting myself down constantly. So it's like, okay, let me get this straight. We got out a big chunk of your toxic chain, put a lot of confidence, self-belief in, and then you beat yourself up and treat yourself like crap. And a month and a half later, you wonder why you feel like crap. So you really got to do both. You got to we got to change your core and your beliefs, but you can't treat yourself like crap. We need to have self-talk and treat ourselves in a way that mitigates pain, mitigates doubt, mitigates feeling not good enough, reduces all of that, and heightens that you're pursuing pleasure, heightens that you are good enough, heightens that you do believe in yourself, that you do have ability. That's where self-talk comes in. It's self-talk is a temporary boost, but you do it ongoing. You mitigate the pain, you enhance the pleasure. So self-forgiveness. You avoid self-criticism. You remember that? Arnold Schwarzenegger, you saw that clip at the very beginning. He says, don't put yourself down, he says to the skinny guy. Congratulate yourself, you have a lean and athletic build. Arnold Schwarzenegger is modeling, hey, avoid self-criticism. Give yourself compliments. You can go back to the beginning of this presentation, watch it again if you'd like, and then come back here. Mitigate the pain, positive self-talk. That's Arnold. Train your brain. So what happens with, and we're going to watch another clip in just a moment. What happens, you want to compliment yourself. I do it. My rule of thumb is 10 times a day. Anytime you do something awesome. There's two benefits to that. Number one, you're showing your brain the reasons you're awesome. You're actually presenting evidence to your brain why it should believe in you. Why do you have high value? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm pointing this out. I'm pointing this out. Do it 10 times a day. All the good things you do. But if you do something productive and then you say, congratulations, I'm awesome. I did this thing. And that means I'm awesome. Or say it in a way that resonates with you. It feels good. And your brain is beginning to link pleasure with accomplishing tasks, because each time you accomplish something, even if it's just making your bed, going to the gym, eating a healthy meal, getting to work on time, completing a work task, whatever, you're complimenting yourself. You do it out loud. Do it out loud, because your subconscious is geared to observe the outside world. So whisper it, say it, write it down, and read it. Whatever's best for you, 10 times a day. And then your brain is like, wow, each time I accomplish a task, I get a little dopamine hit because I'm getting complimented. Your brain is now beginning, you're training your brain over time to link being productive with pleasure. If you mess up and you beat yourself up, your brain is linking messing up. Doing a task is tied to the potential to mess up. The potential to mess up is tied to pain, and you're enhancing that pain by beating yourself up, criticizing yourself. If you catch yourself criticizing yourself, say, I'm glad I caught myself criticizing myself. That means I'm making progress in this area. Welcome to the human race. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm forgiving myself, and as a high value man or a high value woman, if you're a woman, I'm going to do my best to fix this. And so you mitigate the pain. You actually throw some compliments in there. As a high value person, I'm going to do my best to fix this. Mitigate that pain, add to the pleasure, tie pleasure to being productive, and build self-belief with positive self-talk. So we got another clip coming up. Oh. Okay, here's another clip. These are all just high value people showing you the high value alpha mindset. Here we go. Cus D'Amato is Mike Tyson's first coach. Cus D'Amato died a year before Mike Tyson became world champion. Cus D'Amato adopted Mike Tyson at age 12. Mike Tyson lived with Cus D'Amato, one of the greatest boxing coaches of all time. Cus D'Amato trained not just 3 world champions, but 3 Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame boxing champions, one of the greatest boxing coaches ever. This video, this portion of this video happens when Cus is still alive, which means Mike is not yet world champion, and we're going to analyze what they say here. This is solid gold.
Well, Cus has helped me in aspects and believing in myself. There's no way you're going to make it in life, anything. Being a carpenter, being a marble collector, you have to believe in yourself. And most likely, a lot of people became famous and believed in themselves, and then mostly it was forced belief. It wasn't really.
No, forced belief. He mentions forced belief. We're going to define what that is shortly. They got a better way of getting you to believe in yourself, so we're going to see.
True. It was just the idea that they believed in themselves. And now I believe in myself, and everything I believe in myself is true because I know I'm the best and everybody else knows too.
He is not yet world champion when he says this. Cus D'Amato, his coach, is still alive. So you get the belief first. I'm the best. I'm amazing. I have massive value just for you. You do that before you become successful. You get this. A subconscious program is a belief that is just there. It forms in your childhood. So when these people were young, they get these good beliefs in them that they are amazing, they have value. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Cus D'Amato constantly praised Mike Tyson. Even when Mike Tyson was 12, 13, whatever, constantly praising him, telling him how amazing, how good he is. Got Mike Tyson to believe in himself. And he's like, I'm the best. And then he became world champion. The belief drives you there.
Will not be denied, especially when you know what your ability is. Nobody can con you or anything like that because you know what you can do. And only by letting him know that he had these qualities and he had these abilities and potentials would enable him to get the real solid, deep down inner belief in himself. Because for a person to believe something with which that he could never back up, well, it's not stable enough.
So if you stand in front of the mirror and you give yourself affirmations and there's nothing to back it up, that's forced belief. It's not stable enough. Just saying you're awesome with nothing to back it up, it can help to a point. You know, you write down, I'm amazing and I meant to do all these great things and be specific or whatever. But if you have nothing to back it up, it's forced belief. It's not stable enough.
You have to give him a reason to believe in himself.
You got to give yourself a reason.
In order to believe in himself. And in the process of giving him the reasons for him to believe in himself, he does, in fact, after a period of time, recognize these qualities do exist, and therefore he has reason to believe in himself. And the act of doing the technical part of it is relatively simple.
So what Cus is saying here is I point out to the boxer all the reasons the boxer is amazing, that he has potential, he's destined to be a great boxer. And then after a while, when the boxer says, yeah, I did do that punch good. Yeah, I did do this good. I have gotten stronger from weightlifting or whatever. Once the boxer gets his solid core belief, then teaching the technical part of boxing is simple. Self-belief is the foundation. And this is one of the greatest boxing coaches of all time. This is a method. Starts with self-belief. And I show the boxer all the reasons that he deserves to be a champ. So that's what we do. You get up in the morning, you make your bed, you say, congratulations, I made my bed. That's a sign I am a disciplined, clean person or a high value person or awesome or whatever. I'm off to a great start. Congratulations. You say it out loud or you write it down. I went to the gym. That means I'm disciplined. You know, my physique is getting better every day. I'm freaking awesome. You 10 times a day minimum, say it out loud or write it down. Preferably, I just say it out loud. It's easier. So your subconscious hears it. You point out, show yourself the reasons that you're a good person, that you're awesome, that you have value, that you're meant for greatness. Whatever resonates with you, it should, whatever you say, it should resonate with you. It should feel good. Put it in the words that feel good to you. So back to this again. Okay, so, oops, that's not good. There we go. Positive self-talk is big. Now, some people come to me and they have poverty mindset. They're thinking about everything they don't have and can't get. And that is actually a type of toxic shame because it's tied to powerlessness. I'm inadequate, you know, because of what I have so little and I have so little power to get it. You know, it's tied to toxic shame. Gratitude is, it ties pleasure to what we have. Again, our brain pursues pleasure, avoids pain. Gratitude is about abundance. Look at all these things I have. It's so awesome. You know, look at all these things I've done and look at all these things I have and all the blessings I've been giving. Man, I'm in so much abundance. That is the abundance mindset. And that is tying pleasure to things instead of tying pain to things you don't have. So we have a Snoop Dogg clip where he actually is grateful and thankful for himself. And Snoop Dogg here actually does what Custom Model says you should do. So we're going to show that. It is not a coincidence that these people are mega successful. This is the high value alpha mindset. I'm picking it apart. I'm showing you guys what it is. And I'm even giving you some tools to help you adopt it. And then I'll explain more on the, you know, the other tools. I've already mentioned hypnosis, etc. Here we go. Here's Snoop Dogg.
Last but not least, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me.
Reason.
I want to thank me for doing all this hard work.
Another reason.
I want to thank me for having no days off.
Another reason he keeps going.
I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I receive. I want to thank me for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all times. Snoop Dogg, you a bad.
So that was Snoop Dogg. He got his Hollywood Star Walk of Fame. That was his acceptance speech. He was actually interviewed, I think it was by David Letterman, one of those big talk show hosts, because this video went viral. And he was asked, hey, did you plan that I want to thank me part? Or did it just spontaneous? And Snoop Dogg said, hey, it was spontaneous. It was spontaneous because that's just part of how he naturally is. He knew right off the top of his head all the reasons he was awesome. And his affirmation was, I'm thanking me because I'm awesome this way. Reason. Just like Custom Model said you should do. He already had that in him because this is the high value alpha mindset. High value alphas give themselves validation, give themselves approval. They feel good. They believe in themselves. They believe in their ability. And what happens is if you have a feeling and I can do great things, and then there's going to be a feeling attached to that. It's a good feeling. If you have in you, I have amazing self-worth, there's a feeling attached to that. It's a good feeling. Arnold Schwarzenegger, bumping is better than coming. Why did he say that? Because he has a belief in him, subconscious. That's what a subconscious program is. It is a belief or interpretation tied to a feeling. He has a belief, I have amazing value. I'm awesome. I'm meant to be a champion. It's my destiny. I'm meant for this. I have this dream. I'm going to become the greatest. I believe I can do it. And I already am awesome just how I am. And anytime anything in the outside world can confirm, yes, indeed, you are awesome. Boom. So anytime he worked out, felt amazing. So he's like, pumping is better than coming, posing in front of people. I'm in heaven all the time. And he was constantly pursuing pleasure. He had the foundation of self-belief. He had the opposite of toxic shame. The problem is 90% of people have at least some toxic shame in them that holds them back, keeps them small. You saw that skinny guy. I'll never be like Arnold. Look at me. I'm pathetic, really. I mean, watch his self-talk and then look at his physique versus Arnold's physique. So this is the high value alpha mindset. Gratitude, abundance, pointing out to yourself the reasons you're giving yourself. If you give yourself validation, love, and approval, then you don't need it from anyone else. Now you are 0 F's given. Alpha, it's nice to get approval from others still, but it makes you so much stronger internally. You know, guys, you're on a date and a girl's trying to see what you're made of and she shit tests you, but you already approve of yourself, which means you're not relying on her for approval. If you're looking for her to validation and she yanks that away, you're going to fall apart. But if you're your own source of validation, you're like, hey, whatever, you know, and then the girl is going to say, wow, this guy has some confidence. This guy has some balls on him, as opposed, oh, watch this other guy crumble. This will be our last date. You know, this really happens. I mean, this is, you know, it's a feature of psychology that women have. You can observe them doing it. You know, I'm not saying they do it all the time, but from time to time they're doing this. So you get this core confidence. You're unshakable. Loneliness goes away. You're pursuing pleasure. You're not staying small to avoid pain. I've laid it all out for you. This is the high value alpha mindset. And of course, the question is, you know, how do we get this in us? So we'll do one more thing here. These are the beliefs we get out. These are the high value alpha on the right, beta on the left. Negative, I'm not good enough, I'm worthless. Replace it with, I don't need to do or say anything to have massive value, I just have it. On the left, if others reject me, it means I'm a loser. This girl rejected me, I must be ugly and unattractive. Nope, it's like if others don't see my value, they just cannot see it. Their blindness is their problem. That's true. You know, and you know, other people, maybe they're just a bit too busy to see our value. Maybe they got other stuff going on, or, you know, they see a sliver of who we are as humans, you know, when they perceive us. So if they can't see everything we have to offer, that's their problem. We have value just for who we are. If I fail, it means I'm a failure. No, that's a bad system. That's toxic shame. High value alpha mindset. Those who fail the most succeed the most. Thomas Edison. I haven't failed. I found one more way that doesn't try it. That's why he tried 1,000 times. That's why he invented the light bulb instead of someone else. He kept going. Feeling inside, believing inside. Those who fail the most succeed the most. I'm failing more because I'm doing more challenging stuff. And the more you fail, the more you learn, the better you get. And that success then comes because all we're doing is learning, growing, practicing. The path of productive failure, as Layla Hermosi put it. You fail, you learn, you tweak, and then you have massive success because you're doing what others aren't willing to do because you have the high value alpha mindset and others do not. Left side, negative. I'm powerless, I'm helpless. Right side, high value alpha. I can practice, learn, grow. I can get the skills to get what I want. It's only a matter of time. I just need to keep applying myself, plowing through the failures, learning each time, and then I get the skills. The more we do anything, the better we get. Practice, learn, grow. Left side, I have to put others' needs first. Right side, I'm my own mental point of origin. I take care of myself first. You're in the airplane, oxygen mask come down, you put your oxygen mask on first. Why? Well, if you build yourself up, invest in yourself, take care of yourself, then you become more powerful, more successful. And who can do more good in the world? Someone worth $100 million or someone worth $20? Who can do more good? Who has more power? So we deserve to take care of ourselves. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be, if we're willing to do the work, we deserve to be happy. We deserve to be successful. We deserve to build our power and become powerful enough to truly help others. A weak person is not in a good position, and you become powerful by making yourself your own mental point of origin, because the truth is no one can take care of you. No one is willing or able to take care of you as well as you can take care of yourself. That's why you put yourself first, because if you do not, no one else will. It doesn't mean we don't care for others. It doesn't mean we're not altruistic in helping others. But if we don't put ourselves first, no one else will. And no one else is able to do it like we can. We can always choose to be there for ourselves. Others, don't, sooner or later, even the best friend's going to let you down, because he's an imperfect human. He has other stuff going on. Make yourself your own mental point of origin. You are your top priority. Build yourself up and then help others. The plane's going down, losing oxygen, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Now you can breathe. Now you can put on, help others put their oxygen masks on. As opposed to, you die of lack of air and now you can't help anyone. Left side, I'll always be poor. Right side, money is everywhere. It's true. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars circulating around the world. You only need to develop useful skills. If you have a skill that's in demand, then money comes to you in abundance, because people will pay you to get that benefit, and you can develop it, learn, grow, practice. Left side, I'm different. I don't fit in. Right side, my unique traits are the best part of me. Do you know who's different and doesn't fit in? Superheroes. Become a superhero. So, and then of course, and that's the end of the presentation. And for those of you wondering, well, how do we do this? Hypnosis is the key. Now, there are other self-hypnosis. Now, you can do a session with me. My hypnosis, when people hire me, it's 2 or 3 hours, sometimes even more, of analysis, mindset coaching, showing you how to do self-hypnosis on yourself, preparing you for the session. And then the session's usually about 2 hours. So with me, it's about 5 hours for one day. Sometimes it's 6 or 7, because I am results oriented as much as possible. But the first 2 years where I was clearing my tox, I used to have manic depression. I used to have severe depression. It was mild mania, severe depression. And, 15 years of psychotherapy, 100 sessions, did get about 60% of it. The last few years of psychotherapy didn't even help. It took forever. It was incredibly slow. I found self-hypnosis, a form of self-hypnosis. Within 2 months, depression gone. Boom. Super powerful. Self-hypnosis is super powerful. The subconscious optimization system shows you how to get toxic shame out, high value alpha mindset in through hypnosis. Watch, if you want to. Now, there's no guarantees, because everyone goes at their own pace, and there's different people. Everyone's, the difference between person A and person B can be vast. But, there's on my YouTube channel and otherwise, there's many examples of people I've helped, and the results are striking. The results are just massive. And how they did that is self-hypnosis or a session with me. They use my dive to the 5. They use my self-hypnosis audios. Again, everyone's different. So, I'm not making any, guarantees, but the results speak for themselves. So this is how you actually get this in you. Hypnotism or self-hypnosis or a session with a hypnotist puts you in a state where we can actually reprogram your subconscious mind. Get out the bad stuff. Get out that toxic shame. Put it unconditional self-love, massive self-belief, motivation for you to get what you want. Learning how your subconscious works. 95% of behavior is dictated by our subconscious mind. So a session with me will help you get that toxic shame out, put the good stuff in, teach you how to validate yourself, approve of yourself, get that alpha high value mindset, or do the self-hypnosis. Very effective too. That's how I cured my depression. Self-hypnosis, I didn't do any live sessions until 2 years after I did the self-hypnosis. By that time, my income had already doubled. By that time, I had already made massive progress in so many areas of my life. So I hope you find this helpful and useful. I hope you can now see what the high value mindset is. These are all mega successful people telling you, showing you, and I'm analyzing, picking apart, show you what they do, what their internal mindset. A lot of that, do the self-talk that we went over. Avoid that self-criticism, and then get on that path of greatness. Understand that, hey, if you're failing, it's because you're taking risks others are not taking. That's not bad. That's good. You're on the path of greatness. That's a good thing. And there's no such thing as being perfect every time. So that perfectionism, throw it out the window. You know, I know we need to get that into your subconsciously, but it's important to cognitively understand this too, and to consciously understand this too, because many people don't even understand that the path of productive failure is the path that all these mega successful people make, and that they're just human, just like the rest of us, you know, but they're okay with making the mistakes. They know it is part of the path of mega success. They accept it and they embrace it. I want you to as well. So thank you for listening to this presentation. You have more power than you know. Let's get it in you. Let's get you believing in yourself, believing in your value. Let's take this ride. Thank you.